Hello everybody, welcome back to Snetterton. Welcome back to round 2 of the Ferrari Challenge UK. Obviously we've already seen plenty of action so far this weekend from 2 qualifying sessions and race 1 yesterday. Qualifying this morning was just as exciting, whilst we had a brief interlude towards the tail end of the session. Qualifying was as close as ever. Copa-Shell, we had 4 cars separated by less than 0.2 of a second, but Gilbert Yates taking a demanding pole position. So cars heading out onto their sort of installation laps. What they will do is leave the pit lane, head out on a first installation lap, come back through the pit lane, and head out onto another. As we say, here at Snetterton, the 2nd and 3rd of May, we've already been to Paul Ricard on the 13th, 14th and 15th of March, before we head to Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. Then to Alton Park in the middle of June, or towards the end of June. Brands Hatch towards the end of July, and round out the season on the 19th and 20th of September at Donington Park. Cars continue round once more, back through the pit lane once again for effectively the 2nd time to continue to work temperature into their Pirelli P0 tyres and their brakes. Track temperature much cooler than yesterday. Air temperature around about where it was. Humidity has risen. The wind, I would say, has started to die off in comparison to where it was this morning, so maybe not such a challenge here at the Snetterton circuit. As we have a look around the course in which the drivers are having to negotiate throughout this weekend, 2.99 miles or 4.77 kilometres, 12 corners with 7 to the right and 5 to the left, only 8 metres of elevation change throughout the entire lap. The max of that is right the way up at the Wilson hairpin. It doesn't necessarily look it initially, but it is all uphill from Ritchie's at turn 1 up to turn 2 at Wilson. We have more and more people working their way through the gates here at Snetterton to watch what are arguably the best Ferrari Challenge drivers you will find. Gilbert Yates with a commanding pole position, over a second clear of son Bradley Yates. Myself, Jack Worrell, guiding you through some of the action up here in the commentary box, joined by Jack Mace and Dave Richardson down on the grid once we have cars heading that way. But Jack, I mean, if this weekend is anything to go off, we already knew it, but this is more confirmation. We are in for another stellar season of Ferrari Challenge UK.
Well, there's already been a fantastic first round in Paul Ricard Le Castellet, and so far this weekend here at Snetterton we are treated to a really good showcase of Ferrari Challenge racing in the first race. Really good battles throughout the Trofeo Pirelli and Copa-Shell classes. One of special note was that really good battle we had for 4th place for the first half of the race yesterday. Mike Dewhurst, Manuel Gosner, and the Copa-Shell compared to Christopher Baton. It was a really good race for us there, and with the times that you mentioned being as close as they are from qualifying earlier on this morning, we should be treated to much more of the same. Really good racing on the horizon.
Really good racing on the horizon indeed. Charles Hurst will be over the moon for their successes this weekend, picking up big points in the Copper Dealer Championship. Both Gilbert Yates and Bradley Yates both representing Charles Hurst. Joe Dean and co have had a welcome this season so far. Obviously last season they were struggling to pick up those podiums, but both Joe and his family, but also Aston Miller, his professional driver coach, have been working very closely together. We say that just as Joe Dean leaves the pit lane. They have been picking up podiums plenty so far this season. 3 races completed, 3 podiums have been added to his name as well. Manuela Gosner, she's been getting used to the circuits here in the UK, of course, from successes in Ferrari Challenge Europe, moving her way over here because she wanted to see what the infamous British circuit had to offer. Mike Dewhurst, obviously last season's Copa-Shell champion, means that he's naturally promoted up to Trofeo Pirelli, and chatting with himself and Ed Bridle at lunch, they said the car is fabulous. The car is in the window. It's just making sure we piece together the whole package, not only sectors 1, 2 and 3, dependent on where they are, but making sure everything is where Mike wants it. And they are slowly starting to unlock that pace. Chris Baton as well in Copa-Shell, doing everything that he needs to. 3 podiums from 3. We might be able to grab a chance to hear from some of our drivers with Dave Richardson down on the grid.
Thank you so much. Delighted to welcome you down here to the grid as I'm alongside John Turner, who has turned into being one of the big characters of the Ferrari Challenge in the UK here. Something of a joker and great fun. He's being coached by Rob here. And I don't want you to let us into any secrets, Rob, but when you're working with a fantastic, characterful driver like this, does it make it more difficult or easier?
No, it makes it more easier, Dave. He's great. He's great. He's great fun, but also he's got a great work ethic as well.
And he's got talent.
A huge amount of talent, which we're unlocking. So yeah, he's doing a great job. A great job.
Listen, go well. We wish you well, John. So just had to get that in there because he played a trick on me at lunch today, and I thought there was a wasp buzzing around behind me, and it wasn't. He got a breadstick, and he was tickling my ear with it. Rotten devil. So there we are. As you can imagine, the grid is busying up right now. Let's get into the centre here. We've got one more car to come. Let me just hold you there, Alex, my cameraman. Just as the final car comes into the grid and threads its way through. Well done, Joseph Dean does that. I think that's with the exception of one more before I can get to the middle of the pack and get going, which I plan to. I love being down here on the grid. It is such a great place to be and to bring you the atmosphere and the feeling of excitement and sense of anticipation that there always is. This, of course, the Steve Dobson car that we're looking at here. Steve's team working very hard, and he's gone for a comfort break as usual. Bladder with the capacity of a peanut, I'm tempted to say. Is it pre-race routine?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
But while we're here, driver coach here, engineer and mechanic here as well, just checking tyre pressures. Can I just say, Craig, happy birthday to you, friend. You've been done like a kipper. Happy birthday to you. So I was asked if I would deal with that, and I hope I've done you all right there, fellas. So as we continue making our way through the grid of cars, we're with Copa Shell and Trofeo Pirelli drivers as well. William Bolster here, who's, if I can say this, if you can zoom into that crash helmet there, he has perhaps the most demonizing eyes. You know, he's the loveliest guy in the world, but you look at those eyes and you think, that guy is a race-winning driver because he's fantastic. Right, come on, before I get myself into even more trouble here. Alongside us now to the right-hand side of me is the car of Mike Dewhurst. Now, I mentioned on the grid yesterday, Mike Dewhurst now a Trofeo Pirelli driver because Mike Dewhurst won the Copa Shell category last year, very comfortably so. Mike's a really unassuming driver, but very good in the car, and we'll see what he can do today. Ed, his driver coach there, has a wry smile on his face, so he's obviously hoping for good things today. Look at this. Darren Howell and Steve Dobson, two fine figures of gentlemen, making their way to their cars ahead of the 30-minute plus one-lap race to come from the Ferrari Challenge UK. Chris Baton here did a brilliant job yesterday. Will we be seeing him on the top step of the podium today? Only time will tell. Federico Pastorelli is here. Now, Federico is the regional manager of Ferrari here in the UK. Great atmosphere, as always, Federico. You must be very proud.
Extremely proud. And so another exciting race. And then we carry on with the fantastic championship and the amazing atmosphere of this championship that is so unique.
And you have done something about the weather this weekend, because even today there was supposed to be rain, but you've sorted it.
No, who said the rain? No rain, just sun.
Thank you, Federico. Thanks for talking to us. Federico Pastorelli, then the regional manager of Ferrari North Europe, talking to us there. And he makes a point of going through and shaking the hand of every single driver that is ready to take to the track. Aston and Joseph Dean here. Joe, I was saying, if you don't mind me disturbing you, you have come on, and you are an awesome racing driver. You must be really pleased with the progress you've made.
Yeah, no, definitely. Very happy with all the success we've had so far this season. I would just say me and Aston, we've worked very hard throughout, the off season in the winter to kind of get up to where we needed to be, and I think hopefully that will reflect in some of the results this year.
Well, I think we're seeing that already, Joseph, if I'm honest.
Yep, I do too, to be honest. But I just hope, you know, the later part of the season, especially Silverstone, which is a track I feel quite confident around, we can get maybe one step up.
Yeah. Let's wait for that to happen. I'm sure it will. Good luck to you in the race today, Joseph Dean, and Aston, his driver coach. And thanks for letting us chat to him. We really appreciate that as we continue our way. Antonio Tamburini is here. Antonio is one of our official Ferrari driver advisors, and in his day was a superb racing driver. And I know you spent a lot of time racing here in the UK, didn't you?
Yeah, I make a lot of race here in UK with the Formula 3000 and also here in Snetterton many years ago, unfortunately, because you can see the white hair. But we are still here, we are still involved with Ferrari, and I'm really happy about that.
I have to say, and I feel the same as you do, you know, to be involved in this wonderful championship is very much a privilege, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a privilege. It's a very, very good championship, and it's a real pleasure because the British circuit is always in my heart, and it's a pleasure to me be again on this track with this beautiful team.
Great to talk to you. Thank you. Antonio Tamburini, then, absolutely fantastic driver who, as he said, spent a lot of his racing career competing and driving here in the UK. So we get to the front row of the grid, where it's as we were with Bradley Yates and Gilbert Yates, this inter-family affair that we have as to who is going to be on the top step of the podium, who is going to be number one in qualifying. And this contest, this competition, I think, is going to rage all season long. It's what makes the Ferrari Challenge so fascinating, so fantastic. And to bring you all the action of race 2 here at Snetterton, it's a pair of Jacks, Jack Werrell and Jack Mace.
Thank you very much, Dave. Great to hear from a couple of drivers down there on the grid, and of course our incredibly valued members of the Ferrari Challenge UK team. And as you quite rightly said, it is an absolute privilege to be here and working with the brand of Ferrari, and also see all of the emerging talent that is working its way through the Ferrari ranks. Of course, it's very much the pinnacle of challenge racing. No matter where you are, you will always see Ferrari Challenge cars at the front. And for the moment, you will also see both Gilbert and Bradley Yates at the front. That seems to be the way to go so far this season. There's yet to be a round where a member of the Yates family hasn't won. So obviously Bradley Yates picking up both wins in France at Paul Ricard. Gilbert Yates picking up the first win of the weekend here. And going off qualifying, you'd imagine that's probably going to go the same way, Jack Mace. For now, Gilbert Yates is very, very confident. They have unlocked that extra little bit that they so desperately wanted to, and that's a case of working with not only themselves, but working with driver coaching, working with Ferrari and Pirelli as closely as possible to ensure that obviously the Pirelli P0s provide the amount of grip which we've come to expect, which seems to be somewhere along the lines, or at least parallel with Infinite. And Gilbert Yates and team really seem to have found that extra piece.
All of the work that they've put in since the first rounds at Paul Ricard have just paid absolute dividends so far. Took a dominant showing in race 1 yesterday, did exceptionally well in qualifying on both days. He was pole by over a second this morning for race 2. I said at the start of the first race that it was looking good. We got 30 seconds now before the start of the race as they go out for their formation lap. It's exciting. It's exciting to see what the Yates is going to be capable of this time.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. Race 2 of the weekend here at Snetterton for Ferrari Challenge UK is about to get underway. So the car's waiting for the green flag to be waved. The safety car will be released any moment now as the whistle is blown. To grab everybody's attention, we just wait for the green flag to show, and it will then be the Ferrari safety car that will lead the field around. If you're obviously we've mentioned the two separate classes of Trofeo Pirelli and Coppa Shell. There is obviously the Coppa Dealer Championship to take into account as well, but if you're looking for a quick way just to tell the difference between the two classes, you can see, at least from this camera angle, with Gilbert Yates, the FIA sponsor on the sunstrip. If the sunstrip itself is red with white writing, that means they are a Trofeo Pirelli entrant. If it is a yellow sunstrip with the FIA sponsorship in black writing, that means that they are a Coppa Shell runner. Just trying to get some heat into those rear tyres. It looks like Christopher Baton was trying to light up the Pirelli B0s in as much effort as possible to get as much temperature as possible into those tyres. As they head out onto their green flag warming up lap, in a few moments' time we'll be able to guide you through the way in which they line up for the second and final race of the weekend. And here we go. Gilbert Yates will be lining up on pole position after posting a 1 minute 48.064. Son Bradley Yates will line up alongside. Row 2 of the grid is made up of Joseph Dean and Manuela Gosna. Heading on to row 3, you've got Mike Dewhurst and Coppa Shell pole sitter Christopher Baton alongside. Row 4 is made up of William Bolster and Sean Rann. On to row 5 of the grid, Steve Dobson has got Andrea Seminara for company. And on row 6, you have Darren Howell and John Turner rounding out the 12-strong car grid. A couple of names not on the entry list this weekend. However, we can obviously expect those numbers to work their way back up as ever in Ferrari Challenge UK as the season wears on, and we're getting more and more drivers go through the Ferrari Ready to Race program as well, in eagerness to get involved in this championship, because it really is where you want to be if you want to go racing and you want to go racing in Ferraris. Should you speak to your dealer and the opportunity arises, why wouldn't you? And that Ready to Race program is busier than ever, and I've got a feeling we're going to be on for some very, very big grids, as we always see expanding, not only by the end of this year but into the following seasons as well.
I think one of the reasons as well that the drivers have taken so well to the Snetterton circuit this year, the Ready to Race program was held here at the start of the season, so they got their eye in quite early on with some of the reworked curbing that has been done at the Snetterton circuit over the course of the winter. They have gotten used to it, and it's given them a really good eye in to get themselves prepared for this event. There's not really a better way to do so. And as you said, if you want to race Ferraris, there is no better way of getting involved than through the Ferrari Challenge program, which is what these drivers have done. And there is, opportunity to go on to further things with Ferrari in the future. I see the cars coming around Coram now. I think we're about to get a race underway here.
Yeah, all 12 cars with their lights ablaze. Of course, they will all have their eyes set on the lighting gantry. As soon as the lights go out, we can get the second race of the weekend underway. Who will it be that will lead into turn 1? Will it be Gilbert Yates? Will it be Bradley Yates? The safety car peels its way right and back into the pit lane. And now, as the field accelerate towards the line, the red lights stay on. It's a long hold as the lights go out, which they do now. It's side by side for the race lead. Bradley Yates and Gilbert Yates. There is nothing to pick between them as they hit the brakes in towards Ritchie's for the first time. But it will be Gilbert Yates that asserts its dominance once again. Has started to pull a little bit of a margin, however, going defensive in towards Wilson for the first time of asking. Bradley Yates gets the car anchored up, turned in towards Wilson, and pushes his way out as quickly as possible. Joseph Dean doing what he can just to hold on to third place for now, but there is, more importantly, Manuela Gosna with fire in her belly, ready to close in onto Joseph Dean. Mike Dewhurst not that far away at all. He will have his eyes set on the podium today. But for now, Bradley Yates, he's applying that pressure onto father Gilbert, isn't he? He's not that far away at all.
Dewhurst has actually made a way past Manuela Gosna through Agostini, just out of sight. The battle out in front between Gilbert and Bradley Yates will be going on for at least the first few laps. We know that Bradley is not going to want to let Gilbert get away again. Joseph Dean had to get pretty defensive on the inside of Wilson to maintain that third place start. But it is Yates ahead of Yates and Joseph Dean, and it is Mike Dewhurst in fourth ahead of Manuela Gosna. Christopher Baton making a very good start at the front of Coppa Shell. Will be looking to try and pull away, but Sean Rann is following in closely behind as they approach Rundle and Nelson.
Sean Rann really not that far away, 7th overall, but more importantly, 2nd in the Coppa Shell class. And for Sean Rann, if he keeps this pressure on, we may just see Chris Baton take his eyes off Manuel Agostner and start having to think about defending. As we head through Coram for the first time, out of the final corner, we've already seen our top two of Gilbert Yates and Bradley Yates. They fire their way along the centre straight towards the start-finish line. Over the line goes Gilbert Yates and Bradley Yates. 1.3 seconds separates them. Joseph Dean, 3.3 seconds off the tail of Bradley Yates, but he'll just be monitoring that gap as best as possible. Chris Baton has pulled just over a second over Sean Rand, but that is far from safe. And if you are Chris Baton at this stage, you want to try and forget about that rearview mirror and purely focus on both Manuel Agostner and Mike Dewhurst up the road. Because if you're a Copa Shell driver, mixing it up with Trofeo Pirelli, that's a statement to make, isn't it?
It's only good news for Christopher Baton. He's able to keep up the pressure as we get a replay now of the race start. The lights went out and it was the Yates pulling away in sequence with each other going down towards turn one. Gilbert with the inside line, managing to hold on to that first place in very similar fashion to what he did in yesterday's race. It's really close between Manuel Agostner and Joseph Dean. Manuel looking to make the move around the outside, but Joseph Dean managing to hold the inside line as they come towards Wilson and holds on to that third place. But it was Gilbert Yates out in front who continues to lead the way. He set a purple sector one. And now as they come down the Bentley Straight, you can still see Gilbert Yates leading the way ahead of his son Bradley. Comes through the second sector timing line. It's another purple sector, so the times are only going to drop down from here. He's got a 1.614 second lead, does Gilbert Yates. And there's another 3.2 back to Joseph Dean in third. Mike Dewhurst doing well, though, to stay in touch. And to the credit of Sean Rand, we haven't really seen too much challenge towards Christopher Baton at the front of Copper Shell so far this weekend. Sean Rand's really doing a good job at the moment.
Sean Rand doing a brilliant job of applying that pressure onto Christopher Baton. Gilbert Yates fires his way out of the final corner once again over the start-finish line to tick the next lap in the book. And once again, fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 48.934, almost a full second quicker than son Bradley Yates for that time of asking, but we've got very, very close to the edge of the track limits there, just working his way over the exit curb at Ritchie's. The Pirelli P0's doing a brilliant job as ever at keeping that car glued to the road. Over the start-finish line, there's another good little battle going on. That is between that of John Turner, and it will be Andrea Samanara. Those two nose to tail. Chris Baton in class has set his fastest lap of the race for Grey Paul Nottingham. Bradley Yates, he's got to be careful here because he's losing yet more time to Father Gilbert Yates. Another overall fastest sector from Gilbert Yates in sector one.
Gilbert Yates just seems to have such an advantage through that first section here at the Snetterton circuit. It's got a lot of technicality to it with the tight hairpin of Wilson. Then you go through Palmer and Agostini. He's really nailed it down well. Second sector also very technical. As you go through Hamilton, the right-hander of Oggies Williams, back onto the Bentley Straight, and we'll wait to see what Gilbert Yates' time is through the timing beam here. And it's another purple sector for him. He's extending the gap further. It was another 0.6 of a second pulled out on son Bradley that time. We have to look a little bit further back to see Mike Dewhurst still applying pressure onto Joseph Dean. They're coming through Brunton and Nelson now. Hit the right-hand corner, a little dip through the bomb hole, and coming towards Coram, which is a long, seemingly endless right-hand corner, and you have to get it absolutely spot on to get your entry set up for Murray's. The final turn that Joseph Dean comes through now, gets the power down on getting the exit of the curb. Now down the start-finish straight, accelerating up to around 165 miles per hour. It's across the start-finish line. Joseph Dean puts in his personal best lap of the race, 1 minute 50.587, but he is losing time to Gilbert and Bradley Yates ahead of him. Gilbert Yates with another fastest lap.
Mike Dewhurst that time over the line took yet more time out of Joseph Dean. I did think he looked that little bit closer. So last time through, Mike Dewhurst with a 1 minute 50.8 is his best. Let me just update the timing screen on my side. But Mike Dewhurst is really starting to close in on Joseph Dean here. So I think Joseph has been given a little bit of the hurry up. So he will start to at least now try and pull away. And in response, Joseph Dean has actually set his personal fastest sector one. So for Mike Dewhurst, all of that hard work he's put in, he's got to continue that level of effort, asking as much as possible from the Pirelli P0 tyres. Out of Olgisi will go towards Williams. Joseph Dean now to the eye has reacted to that and has started to pull away yet more. As for Christopher Baton, he continues to pull away from Sean Rann. He's just over 2 seconds clear now, so a good response from Chris Baton. He's also 2 seconds away from Manuela Gosner. So we could see that little battle reform. If Chris Baton gets onto the coattails of Manuela Gosner, that could then bring back into the mix Sean Rann, and that's not necessarily something we're adverse to seeing here in Ferrari Challenge UK. The battles, as soon as they ignite, they seem to last all race long. You could see there Mike Dewhurst, he's pushing the limits, isn't he?
He's doing absolutely everything that he can. A little bit wide on the exit of Murray's that time, trying to use all of the track that he's able to use, and then perhaps a little bit more on top, but he gets cleanly across the start-finish line to begin lap 5. Another battle that I'd like to keep an eye on a little bit further back is the battle for the 3rd step of the rostrum for Copper Shell. William Bolster and Steve Dobson had a really good battle yesterday through the race, and that was for 2nd place overall. This time now, just 1.5 seconds separating the pair. William Bolster having to continue pushing 2 personal bests in sectors 2 and 3 on that previous lap for him, but Steve Dobson is pulling the gap down. He was actually nearly identical lap times on the previous tour, just 6 thousandths of a second separating the pair of them. On screen now is Manuela Gosner. Her pace has only been improving over the course of the weekend. She's doing well at the moment to bridge the gap a little bit to Christopher Baton. Baton is responding now with a quicker first sector, his own personal best. Manuela Gosner, the first woman to be participating in the Ferrari Challenge UK Championship. And she's been learning the circuits over here in the UK as she's been racing them. So Snetterton, she spoke with Dave Richardson earlier on during qualifying, talking about just how much she's been enjoying it over here. It's been a family event for her, the large family of races that Manuela Gosner is a part of, and she's been making a very good account of herself here as well.
She has indeed. Underneath the vehicle bridge, heading towards Brundle and Nelson goes Christopher Baton, and for a Copper Shell driver, he is very much on the pace with Trofeo Pirelli. So as he works his way through the bomb hole, speaking of Manuela Gosner, she's just up the road by a couple of seconds, and we'll continue to see that Chris Baton really isn't that far away in towards the final corner at Murray's, gets the car slowed down, fired out of the corner slightly sideways, leaves at least a part of his Pirelli P0 on the tarmac, and finds his way over the start-finish line. Those tyres will be plenty enough to last until the end of the race, but do at least have to take into account how smooth that will be, and does that transfer necessarily to time in a straight line over the next couple of laps? We will see. Last time through, Bradley Yates went quicker than Father Gilbert Yates by almost a second. 1 minute 49.584 posted by Bradley Yates, 1 minute 50.513 for Gilbert Yates. So the lead gap now down to 2.8 seconds. In terms of the gaps in what is Copper Shell, over the start-finish line it goes Chris Baton. Sean Rann has also gone through, and the gap between them is over 3 seconds now, getting towards 3.5 seconds. So Chris Baton will continue to run away. William Bolster, it was great to hear from Will throughout lunch break, and Will has got he's definitely there or thereabouts, but he's just searching for that extra little bit over the space of not only this weekend but the season, with his sights firmly set on the Copper Shell Championship, whether it be this season or next. Expect to see that name rise yet further through the ranks. As for Gilbert Yates, continuing to lead the way from Bradley Yates, Joseph Dean finds himself in 3rd place, Mike Dewhurst in 4th, Manuela Gosner in 5th place, Chris Baton 6th overall, leading Copper Shell. So Sean Rann, William Bolster, Steve Dobson, Darren Howell, Andrea Samanara, and John Turner in what is 12th place. We've seen the leaders go through and over the start-finish line. That time through, Gilbert Yates picks the pace back up again and extends the margin back past 2.5 seconds between himself and son Bradley Yates. But is Gilbert just controlling this race now?
I think he's going to have to from here. He's still so much quicker in the first sector, but Bradley Yates seemed to have the advantage at the moment through that final sector, where perhaps it's less low-speed corners, more medium speed. It seems to be suiting his own personal driving style better. Overall, though, the times are so similar, it's difficult to tell them apart. Gilbert Yates does have the fastest lap of the race. It's only by 0.6 of a second, and we know that he's been able to go quicker over the course of the race and qualifying yesterday. Bradley Yates seems to have found a little bit more this time, and he's giving pressure that he needs to give in order to force Gilbert to get a little bit out of his comfort zone, to force him to push a bit further ahead. I did want to go back very briefly to William Bolster. It was Dave Richardson down on the grid during qualifying was chatting with his driver coach Charles Rainford and just saying how William Bolster didn't get a huge amount of seat time in the car prior to the start of the season, and it just shows how well that he's been able to acclimatise to the machinery and how well the machinery has been able to treat him, so that he's already finding himself potentially, as it stands, double podium copper shell finish for the 2 races here at Snetterton.
Yeah, so we will see yet more, I'm sure, from Will Bolster. Work going in down in the pit lane just to communicate to the drivers exactly what's going on out there on circuit. One of those messages that will be going to Bradley Yates is Father Gilbert has just set the overall fastest Sector 2 once again, through and over the start-finish line, and sets a new fastest lap of the race. All of that time was in Sector 2 for Gilbert Yates. A 1 minute 48.757, the new fastest lap of the race. That is the best part of 3/4 of a second quicker than anybody else has gone so far. So Gilbert Yates now extends the lead margin up to 3.8 seconds. Joe Dean still giving chase. Mike Dewhurst doing what he can to run away from Manuel Agostner and doing so successfully. As for Chris Baton, he's very much controlling his race now. He's managed to build a bit of a gap between himself and Sean Rann, and now it's all about maintaining that, ensuring that the Pirelli P0 tyres will continue to supply the best level of grip possible. And obviously, maybe a slight bit of management of the fuel as well. Of course, all the cars running Shell V-Power. And whilst they will have plenty enough to work their way towards the checkered flag, if you can burn off that extra little bit, or the other way around, burn off a little less towards the beginning of the race and maybe switch the engine into a higher engine map, come the end of the race for yet even more power, whether it be all 690 brake horsepower that these cars produce, that might be the way to go. But for Gilbert Yates, it's just flat to the boards and continue to tick those laps in.
He's doing a great job at the moment, and that last lap was 1.3 seconds quicker than the rest of the field. So either he's recognised Bradley Yates behind him improving his own pace, or he's got a direct line to the commentary that we're providing, letting him know, hey, Bradley's catching up, you've got to keep an eye out. But he's responded fantastically well. Another second improved over his son Bradley in the first 2 sectors of this lap. Comes out of the final corner to complete his 8th lap of the race, just about to hit the halfway mark as we tick down towards 15 minutes left in this race. It's a 30-minute plus 1 lap race, so once the timer hits 0, they will complete that lap and then move on to the final lap afterwards. Looking a little bit further down through the field, as you mentioned, Jack, Christopher Baton doing incredibly well to just manage the pace out in front of Copper Shell. We were anticipating a close battle with Sean Rann, but I think Sean Rann is having to ease off just a little bit. A couple of track limit excursions so far, and he can't really afford to do too many more of those, but he's done a really good job. He wasn't on the podium in the first race yesterday. He's making a very good account of himself here, currently running P2 in Copper Shell.
Good battle is starting to ignite. It's just gone over the start-finish line. William Bolster and Steve Dobson not that far away at all. Almost within a second is Steve Dobson for Maranello Sales. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as they are fighting over what is effectively the final step on the Copper Shell podium. Number 93 machine of Manuela Gosna working her way through Agostini. Has that gap started to come down between herself and Chris Baton through the first sector? Absolutely. A couple of tenths gained for Chris Baton, just starting to turn up the wick somewhat, and it will be a position overall, but he will still remain the leader of Copper Shell, so he won't entitle himself to any more points. It's more those bragging rights, knowing he's making that statement of I'm not here to play around. I'm here to win races, and I should be in Trofeo Pirelli. You could see Bradley Yates. He's not taking his father's success lying down, is he? Personal best sector 1, personal best sector 2. This is going to be a quick lap from Bradley Yates. He may even reel in that lead gap from 4 seconds.
Yeah, they're just onto the start-finish straight now. Gilbert Yates goes past our window, and Bradley Yates is visibly closer. That last lap was a 1:49.2. He was nearly 2 seconds quicker on that last lap than Gilbert Yates. Brings the gap back down to under 3 seconds. So very exciting as we enter the second half of the race to see what he's able to do now that he's got the car underneath him, that he seems to have built some more confidence today compared to yesterday and get himself back onto the form. They got him the 2 race wins back at Paul Ricard circuit in Le Castellet. Back on home soil, Gilbert Yates so far has had the run, he's had the wins. But you mentioned earlier that battle for 3rd place in Copper Shell. We can now see it on our screen. Here is William Bolster just ahead of Steve Dobson. They were battling for 2nd and 3rd in the first race of the weekend, and now it looks like William Bolster is coming under a bit of pressure here from Steve Dobson. The gap's down to under a second. Last time by, it was at 8/10, and now coming through the first sector, visibly, Steve Dobson getting onto the back of Bolster there.
I would say it's not even the battle for the final step on the podium. It's effectively becoming the battle between 2nd, 3rd and 4th in Copper Shell, because Sean Rann has just started to fall away somewhat to Christopher Baton and almost into the clutches of William Bolster. But the saving grace, I think, for him is Steve Dobson is starting to apply all of his attention onto the coattails of William Bolster. So that will be the battle, at least for now, for the final step on the Copper Shell podium, and more importantly, further points when it comes to championship aspirations. But Chris Baton has definitely been the man to watch so far in Copper Shell, picking up almost max points with 3 podiums from 3, and it's looking like maybe another in this race with 11 3/4 minutes still to go. On top of that additional lap, over the start finish line once again goes Gilbert and Bradley Yates, and quicker once again was Bradley Yates. The lead gap, it's come back underneath 3 seconds. Last time by, it's now back and under 2.5 seconds. So Bradley Yates, he's reeling in his father here, isn't he?
He's doing a very good job as well. He seems to have found some more pace in Sector 1, where he was struggling a little bit compared to Gilbert earlier on. 10 laps completed by our leading group, and here we're following on screen still the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th overall, 2nd, 3rd and 4th in Copper Shell. And you can visibly see the gap coming down between Bolster and Dobson. That time by, there was another couple of tenths gained, I believe, by Dobson over Bolster. Indeed, yes, it was a 1:52.1 last time. A new personal best lap of the race for the pair of them, as they both reel in Sean Rann, who he was a little bit slower in the first sector, but responded well in the second. A little bit wide there, but using all of the track that he can there was William Bolster. Now they come through Palmer, they are nose to tail. This is a real fight that we've got on our hands here.
Really is. Sean Rann, having picked up a place on the opening lap of the race, he's in danger of losing it once more, as William Bolster and Steve Dobson are absolutely side by side. A big lunge up the inside from Steve Dobson. Where did that come from? He managed to get the car slowed down, but brilliant work from William Bolster to see that move coming, cut back up the inside and retakes the position once again. Brilliant battles here in race 2 for Ferrari Challenge UK here at Snetterton. But for William Bolster, he holds on to 3rd place in class. However, Steve Dobson, he's showed his hand now. He's proven he's going to go for the gap when he sees it.
He's going to go for the gap, but it was really good awareness by William Bolster to recognise that Steve was going for it, and he thought, okay, fair enough, you can have that. I'll get you on the cutback and make sure that I maintain that place on the podium for Copper Shell. He takes a more defensive line into Brundle and Nelson on this occasion, and Steve Dobson does just run off circuit there briefly, gets himself back on, no problem, just clean up those Pirelli P0 tyres and get back on the way. Just see a quick replay because they were coming down along. This is down into Agostini. This was the attempted move. Steve Dobson going on the inside, and Bolster recognising, no, he's got me there. Get back on the power as early as he can to make the cutback and retake that 3rd place in Copper Shell.
Yeah, brilliant reactions from William Bolster to see what was going on, get the car squared away and put all 690 brake horsepower from the 3-litre V6 twin-turbocharged engine into the Pirelli P0s and got the car squared away for the exit of the corner and back up the inside of Steve Dobson. Steve has got all of that work to do once again to close back into William Bolster and then size up the move, but he's running out of time with just over 8.5 minutes of the race to go, plus the extra lap. As for Gilbert Yates, he's reacted to Bradley Yates' string of incredibly quick laps, and he's brought that lead margin back north of 4 seconds once again. On the end, going through the timing loop at the end of Sector 2, the lead gap had gone up to 4.25 seconds. Through the bomb hole on towards Coram once again. The predominantly blue-white with day-glow yellow #1 machine, aptly wearing the #1 as your Ferrari Challenge UK 2025 champion, works his way in towards Maurice, on towards the start-finish straight once again. Gilbert Yates doing a brilliant job. He will be picking up the point regardless now when it comes to pole position. In terms of fastest lap, nobody seems to be challenging him as of yet. We've seen Bradley get close, but not quite where he would need to be to pick up that point. It's all about these finishing positions now, and for Gilbert Yates, he's doing everything he needs to.
He's doing everything that he can. He's doing it very well. He's not taking such a dominant display as he had yesterday. Bradley is keeping him a lot more honest. And he's forcing Gilbert to push further and further, a little bit further back down through the field, keeping an eye on this battle for what is now second in Copper Shell, because William Bolster, having gotten the better of Steve Dobson in that battle for second, is now trying to reel in Sean Rand. They're coming down the start-finish straight now outside of our commentary position, going across the line. And the gap that time between the pair of them is 1.1 seconds. So a really good battle now brewing here for second place in Copper Shell. But as you mentioned, out in front, I'll tell you what, on that occasion there, Bradley Yates starting to shorten the gap a little bit to Gilbert. It's back under 4 seconds.
Yeah, quicker through Sector 1 on that occasion was Bradley Yates. We'll get an update in a few moments' time as they break the Sector 2 loop. So the gap had come down to 3.9 seconds. They go through the end of Sector 2 and it's come down yet more, 3.6 seconds. Now the lead margin, I don't know whether Gilbert is just out there pushing for a little bit, then slowly starting to back off, then push yet more, but Bradley Yates doing a brilliant job behind the wheel of his Ferrari 296 Challenge car. As he heads through Coram, you can see the commitment, not only the trust he's got in the car, but the trust he's got in the fabulous Pirelli tyres as well. Jumps on the brakes, points the car in towards the apex, and then works his way on towards the centre straight once again. As for William Bolster, he's really starting to close in now on Sean Rand, and we could see a battle for the final 2 steps on the podium in Copper Shell.
Coming through the haze along the Bentley straight, you can see the Ferraris resplendent, both of them in that wonderful red Rosso colour. Looks like William Bolster was trying to make a move on the inside into Nelson. It wasn't going to come off on that occasion. And look in the background, Steve Dobson's found some pace in his car again. He was nearly a second quicker through the first sector alone for a personal best there. William Bolster responded well as he continues the chasing down of Sean Rand as they come through Coram. He's going to get set up into Murray's here. He has looked down the inside and wasn't going to come off there, but he's now right behind Sean Rand as they come down the start-finish straight. They are nose to tail as they come across the finish line now to begin their 14th lap, and just over 5 minutes to go into Rich as they come. Still pretty much nose to tail as they come. Is William Bolster going to be looking for a move on the inside here into Wilson? He's going to be a little bit, it's not later on the brakes. Sean Brown is the one who's late on the brakes, holds the defensive liner around the outside. All of this is just working to benefit Steve Dobson behind. So second, third and fourth in Copper Shell. The fight is really on between all of them. There they are now, all nose to tail.
Nose to tail as they work their way through Palmer, on towards Agostini. Sean Rand has got a very busy rearview mirror. He'll be hoping and praying that Steve Dobson can quickly assert himself onto the rear of William Bolster, but that's not how he's going to go. Sean Rand, unfortunately, just couldn't get the car turned in. I think that was more just focusing on the rearview mirror rather than the windscreen, and it meant that William Bolster spotted the opportunity, dived to the inside, position made. William Bolster up into second place, Sean Rand down into third. In response, Sean Rand punched the throttle on the exit of Agostini. That almost opened up the door for Steve Dobson, but He remains in 4th place for now, but the target for Steve Dobson is to get on that podium. Sean Rann may feel pretty hard done by here if he loses out on the podium, but that is just the nature of Ferrari Challenge racing. It's always going to be close, it's always going to be tight, and you're going to have to fight for those positions. Sean Rann continuing to push on. Let's have a look back at how those positions change. Sean Rann was leading them in towards Agostini, put the car in towards the apex, but just sneaking his way up the inside was William Bolster on the exit of the corner. Sean Rann immediately over to defend from Steve Dobson, but for Will Bolster doing everything he needs to in 2nd place, and all of a sudden, nose to tail, Sean Rann and Steve Dobson. This is allowing William Bolster to run away up the road, and Bridle watching on with intent to see what Mike Dewhurst is up to in 4th place, almost side by side in towards turn 1, but Sean Rann swoops around the outside and further defends his 3rd place in class.
It was almost as though William Bolster, he just he saw the opportunity arise there on the exit of Agostini, made the move through, and he's now pulling away fairly comfortably from these two duelists here for 3rd place in Copper Shell, 8th overall. Sean Rann and Steve Dobson doing their using all of the track that they can to try and make a move. Steve Dobson, he went for that move earlier into Agostini. I think he's too far back to try it on this occasion, but we've still got 2 minutes 45 and an extra lap to go, so there's still plenty of opportunity for Steve Dobson, having pulled that gap into the car ahead, to see if he's able to make a move potentially around him. A little bit further down, you've spotted something, Jack.
Yeah, Sean Rann has been seen to have been pushing the circuit limits, so come the end of the race, 5 seconds will be added to his total time, which on corrected times would mean that Steve Dobson will work his way through and past Sean Rann. Over the start-finish line, we've seen John Turner. He's been pushing on, setting consistent lap times, and has been consistently improving those lap times as this race wears on. So positive signs for John Turner. The lead margin between Gilbert Yates and Bradley Yates has come down once again. 2.5 seconds separates the father and son pairing. Chris Bateson as well, he's really started to close in on Manuel Agostner. So that's 5th and 6th overall. 5th in Trofeo Pirelli, fighting against 1st in Copper Shell. The gap between them is under a second.
That one has gone a little bit under the radar with the fact that Chris Bateson has been reeling in Manuel Agostner. They had a really good race yesterday during race 1. Looking to see where they are on the circuit. They're just coming through. Palmer now is that battle for 5th place overall. The leader of Copper Shell, Chris Bateson, comfortably leading the class at the moment ahead of William Bolster. Going back to that battle between Sean Rann and Steve Dobson, Steve might not be aware that there's a 5-second penalty coming through for Sean Rann, so he's still going to be pushing to try and get that move done on circuit. They're coming down towards Palmer now in this battle for 3rd. He's not made it on this occasion, but he's going to be a lot closer going into Agostini than he has been on previous occasions. We'll see if he tries something here. He is later on the brakes, but I don't think he's going to be looking for the move on the inside. Oh, he is indeed. He's actually gone for the move there as Steve Dobson. Sean Rann a little bit on the outside, wasn't able to defend quite as effectively as he would have liked, and that means that Steve Dobson, he was going to inherit that 3rd place in class anyway, but now he's got it done on the road. So we turn our attention back towards... Well, we'll have another look at this one first. Steve Dobson, he tried the move at Agostini before against William Bolster. It didn't come off. This time, he got the car slowed down well enough, made the move cleanly on the inside, using all of the circuit on the exit, managing to secure that 3rd place on the circuit.
A brilliant move by Steve Dobson to promote him up into 8th overall and 3rd in class onto that provisional podium. Bradley Yates, in his indefinite efforts to close down that lead margin, he is getting closer, albeit again pushing the limits of the circuit on that occasion. Unfortunately, in reaction to that, Gilbert Yates has gone yet quicker still, so Bradley is now 3.7 seconds adrift. Also Darren Howell has been pushing hard, but unfortunately pushing the limits of the circuit, so that has drawn the attention of the officials. They just have to be careful, nothing concrete as of yet. However, Bradley Yates will need to be careful. He's got enough of a margin, at least, between himself and Joe Dean to not have to worry vastly, but Gilbert Yates is going to extend that lead margin yet more. 3.7 seconds turns into 5.7 seconds, so a slightly slower sector 2, or is that Gilbert Yates just going quicker still? So Gilbert Yates, 38 seconds to take him through Agostini, Hamilton, Hoggies and Williams. A further, 2 seconds beyond that is Bradley Yates. Chris Baton, however, still leading the way in Coperchel and getting very close indeed to Manuela Gosner.
I saw them just come through Williams onto the Bentley straight, the back straight. It was nose to tail between the pair of them. A really good battle. Here they are now on screen. That is Manuela Gosner, 5th place overall, and Christopher Baton just behind her, currently leading Coperchel. Christopher Baton has been making really good progress. Gilbert Yates has just come across the line to start the final lap. This is going to be then still the penultimate lap for Manuela Gosner and Christopher Baton. They come through Coram now, and Manuela is going to have to really get going and hold on to that 5th place position. If she's just going to have to push now from here until the end. One more lap to go for them. Out in front, I think Bradley Yates has lifted off, recognising that he's on his final warning for track limits, so has to be careful now and just hold on and consolidate that 2nd place as Gilbert Yates pulls further ahead. Is this battle continuing? 4P5, Manuela Gosner feels confident enough that Christopher Baton is too far back. She doesn't need to take 2 defensive lines. She can take as much of the circuit as she wants in order to get better exit speed. Come now down towards Palmer for the final time. Holds a very good line there, and we'll continue to hold that down towards Agostini. Here is our leader, Gilbert Yates. He took the win yesterday. He's took pole position for race 1, pole position for race 2, fastest lap race 1, currently fastest lap here in race 2, and he's just got the Bumhole, Coram and Murray's to negotiate before securing a clean sweep here for the 2nd race, the 2nd round of Ferrari Challenge UK.
Gilbert Yates doing a brilliant job, showing us why he was the 2025 Ferrari Challenge UK champion. The final time relies on those Pirelli P0s to fire his way out of Murray's. He will see the checkered flag being readied, and for the 2nd time this weekend, Gilbert Yates and Charles Hurst win here at Snetterton. Race 2 goes the way of Gilbert Yates. Bradley Yates crawling his way out of the final corner. He will see the checkered flag being readied, and Charles Hurst make it 2 1-2s here at Snetterton. Both Gilbert Yates and Bradley Yates picking up 2 podiums apiece. Over the line goes Joseph Dean. He really started to close down on Bradley Yates over the final couple of laps. Out of the final corner now will come that of John Turner. John Turner's had a brilliant race. Over the line we've seen Mike Dewhurst. He finishes 4th overall, 4th in Trofeo Pirelli. John Turner over the line, but now we will see Chris Baton work his way over the start-finish line. Couldn't quite find what he needed to work his way through and past Manuela Gosner, but he will take yet another win in Coperchel. Chris Baton doing an amazing job, and what a debut season it has been for him. 4 races completed, 4 podiums, 3 of which he has been on the top step. Chris Baton, a name to watch for the future. William Bolster over the line to finish in 2nd in Coperchel, 7th overall. And Steve Dobson picks up the final step of the Coperchel podium. Sean Ran over the line in 9th place, Andrea Samanara over the line in 10th. However, I think just about close enough to swap those positions around on corrected times. The final car we're waiting for is Darren Howell. He's just on the brakes for the final time into the final corner, and that will be the final race of the weekend concluded. And what a brilliant weekend it has been for Ferrari Challenge UK, but even more so Gilbert Yates, Chris Baton, and of course the Charles Hurst team. Darren Howell, after what has been an amazing weekend, albeit somewhat troubled on a number of occasions, he will be happy to still leave this weekend with a good handful of points for Darren Howell. Both himself and the JCT 600 Leeds team have done an amazing job, but for Gilbert Yates, he really just shows what that 296 Challenge car can do, and is yeah, very, very quick indeed. Both him, the car, Pirelli and Shell come together to produce quite a potent formula.
It didn't quite go to plan for him at Paul Ricard in Castellet. It's certainly gone to plan for him this weekend here at Snetterton. He's done a fantastic job as Gilbert Yates, taken all of the points that he possibly could, and he's got himself firmly back into the championship. Here is the classification for the Trofeo Pirelli. Gilbert Yates took the win, 17.484 seconds ahead of Bradley Yates. It was Joseph Dean taking another podium in 3rd, ahead of Mike Dewhurst and Manuela Gosner.
round onto Coperchel. Results brought to us by Fire. Christopher Bayton takes the win, 20 seconds ahead of William Bolster. And Chris Bayton doing an amazing job this season. William Bolster will take to the second step of the podium. Steve Dobson, after a very busy race, hard-fought race, will take third. Sean Rann will finish in fourth place ahead of Andrea Samanara, Darren Howell in sixth place, and John Turner will round out your 7 finishers in Coperchel. The leaders are working their way into the pit lane, and I have to say as well, a driver that's impressed me for a lot of the time this season, effectively from start until now, is Joe Dean. Prior to this season, he hadn't stepped on the podium, but this season, every race he's taken to the podium and is making something of a habit of it. He's working very closely with not only his team, but his driver coach, Aston Miller, and together they have made Joe very, very quick indeed behind the wheel of these Ferrari 296 Challenge cars. Not only have we seen our Trofeo Pirelli top 3 work their way towards the top end of the pit lane, we've also seen the top 3 in Coperchel. In a few moments' time, I'm sure we will be able to hear from Dave Richardson. But as the race got underway, it was Gilbert Yates, really. It was the story of Gilbert Yates. He just started to control that pace and run away consistently until Bradley Yates really started to buy into that and wanted to close down that gap, began to close down the gap. Gilbert Yates started to react, and Bradley Yates then reacted in turn. But we might be able to grab a word with our race winners, with Dave Richardson down in the pits.
Thank you so much, grabbing Gilbert literally just as soon as he's jumped out of the car. Another dominant performance, Gilbert, but I want to ask you one question. Were you aware of the seesawing of times between you and your son, or were you just going for it?
No, absolutely. It was on the radio all the time. I got a good gap. I won 6 seconds at one time, and then Josh is on. Bradley's down to 2.8. The problem is tires were going off. I was getting lines wrong and sliding, and then I calmed down, got a bit of gap again, and he was obviously doing well, and then he maybe made a mistake. So it was just a balance between the two of them. I was trying to keep like 4 or 5 seconds, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that at some stages.
Well, that's credit to him, isn't it? I mean, a fantastic showing from him, but also track limits was perhaps going to become an issue for him, where for you, not so much so. You were smoother.
Yeah, it was a bit smoother probably, and I seen that he had track limits staying on the board, but also to be fair to him, he had a problem with his suspension, so he might have been a bit quicker, but it's over now, so I'm just glad.
Well done to you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see if we can grab our Coperchel winner as well, and stay with me here. Come on, let's muscle in here and grab a word with the emotion-strong Chris Bayton, I'm sure, as he wrestles with the baseball cap. And the baseball cap that once again says #1. Another phenomenal performance. That's going to fit nicely. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's going to be a little bit of a habit, isn't it? It's a nice habit to have, though.
Absolutely, it is a nice habit to have, but behind you, all heck was breaking loose. Were you aware of the battles going on behind you, or do you just focus on everything that you've got to do?
No, just the group in front. No, I had no idea what was happening behind, but the ambition is to stay with them and try and get involved with them, so I'm just focused on what's in front, not what's behind.
Well, been a fantastic weekend here in Norfolk for you, Chris.
Absolutely fabulous. And the weather. Come on.
Many congratulations.
Thank you.
So great to hear from Dave Richardson down there on the grid. Let's have a look back at how race 1 unfolded. Over the start-finish line they went for the first time. The lights extinguished. It was an even start between the Yates. Bradley Yates on the outside, Gilbert Yates on the inside. Gilbert getting the better of the two, and he took the lead, and that is where he would remain. But it all started to get rather close behind as Joseph Dean was fighting away with Manuela Gostner. Mike Dewhurst was there or thereabouts, starting to apply pressure in all of the right places as well. But Joe Dean, late on the brakes, dives up the inside, maintains third place on the run in towards Wilson, and then started to build that gap. Mike Dewhurst also managed to go through the same gap. He worked his way up into 4th place and started to control the race from there. Chris Bayton, having maintained the lead in Coperchel, again working on that gap, trying to keep tabs on the Trofeo Pirelli leaders. But Gilbert Yates, that was the story for him. He was in that clear space, late on the brakes, diving up the inside was Steve Dobson, doing what he can to work his way through and past that of William Bolster. That battle raged on for the next few laps as they, as a pair, were closing in on Sean Rann, but Gilbert Yates just started to extend that lead margin more and more, and then we saw the change between Sean Rann and the 66 of William Bolster. William Bolster diving up the inside. Sean Rann immediately over to defend from that of Steve Dobson. Steve Dobson finally managed to get the move done in towards Agostini, relying so heavily on the Pirelli P0s. The grip was offered, it was taken, and he worked his way up into third place in Copa-Shell. But the checkered flag was seen first, once again, by Gilbert Yates. Gilbert Yates managing to make it 2 from 2. And once again this weekend, it was that of Christopher Bayton taking the win in Copa-Shell in race number 2 here at Snetterton. But I think the big story from that, just how close he was to Copa-Shell. So, as we get ready for the podium, everything is being put in place, and we should have Dave Richardson down there ready to announce the podium.
You would expect of me, because I do as I am told. It's my job, you know. Podium is being prepared as we speak, and in tradition, we go with our Trofeo Pirelli podium first of all. And taking P3 on the podium again, Joseph Dean. This family dynamic is going to run and run all season long. It's P2 for Bradley Yates. I insulted him yesterday. I'm not going to do that today. Well done, Gilbert Yates. And the mantelpiece of the Charles Hurst dealership is bowing under the pressure of all the trophies as they're represented as well. So, with everyone that's going to be in receipt of trophies on the podium, we invite our Ferrari North Europe Regional Manager, Mr. Federico Pastorelli, to make the trophy presentations. First of all, to Joe Dean for P3. To Bradley Yates for to Bradley Yates for P2. You nearly got the wrong one. But Gilbert Yates, of course, takes the winner's trophy. Copa Dealer goes by way of Charles Hurst. So, gents, if you will, raise your trophies high. Smile from ear to ear as Lee down there takes your photograph for the world's assembled media. Charles Hurst leave the podium right now as we continue with our celebrations. What a weekend for Gilbert Yates. What a weekend for Bradley Yates, and what a weekend for Joseph Dean as well. Champagne race once again gets won by Gilbert Yates. Our Trofeo Pirelli podium. Yes. And do you know what? I don't normally do this, but I'm going to today. I'll probably get fired for this. Bradley, come back, please. And Joe, stay there as well. We've spoken to him. He's won the race. We don't need to talk to him. Bradley, you were going and going and going for it. Track limits, though, towards the end of the race. Was that going to bite you on the bottom?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit faster in today's race. My average time was quicker, and the only chance I had to catch him was by taking some more track limits. So that was the plan, and then try to tidy it up at 3.
Battle resumption, though, of course, at Silverstone.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to it already. Joseph Dean, and what a fantastic weekend for you, friend.
Yeah, to be honest, I was hoping we'd have a bit more of a competitive race with Gilbert and Bradley today, but as we got quicker, they also got quicker, so there's not really much we can do about it. But on to the next one.
I think it's going to come, though.
Yep, hopefully. I mean, we've got some good speed around Silverstone, so we'll see how that goes.
Good luck to you, and well done. A fantastic, fantastic job done by our Pirelli drivers. So we're just holding off for a moment for our Copa-Shell podium, because Hairy Mary is there with the mop. Sorry, Claudio. Just to clean up the podium and get all the champagne sorted out so that we're ready for the podium. We're just standing by, just waiting for a couple of things to be absolutely decided with regards to Copa-Shell before we formally announce who has done what and where. And everyone is standing by. As soon as we know, of course, we will bring that information to you. So the Jack's up there in the commentary booth. What a fantastic couple of races we've had here at Snetterton. Up next, of course, we move on to a very, very different circuit, which is that at Silverstone, which promises yet more fantastic fun that we are going to have, hopefully, in the sun. So... yeah, all eyes on radios as we're receiving information as we speak, and as soon as we can bring you that Copa Shell podium, I promise you we will. For the meantime, I'm having to wax lyrical, which is not something which comes easy to me, I can assure you. So we will see in just a few moments, but I can see everyone standing by for this Copa Shell podium, which will be here in just a moment. If I can, Jax, back to you just for a moment.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dave. It was great to hear from our Trofeo Pirelli podium sitters. But let's have a look at how the championship looks, leaving Snetterton and heading to Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. Bradley Yates continues to lead the way on 59 points. However, Gilbert Yates has slingshotted his way up through the order with 2 wins, 2 poles, and 2 fastest laps this weekend on to 47. Joseph Dean finds himself in 3rd place on 40 points, 2 points ahead of Manuela Gostner, and Mike Dewhurst only 6 points off the back of her in 5th place. As we have a look at Copa Shell, you'd imagine things have remained. Christopher Bayton picks up a huge haul of points here at Snetterton. He works his way onto 62 points to lead the championship ahead of Andrea Seminara on 33, who's only a point clear of William Bolster on 32, 2 points ahead of Darren Howell. And the field continue on. Hussein Surt, of course, not here this weekend, unfortunately. Neither was Ian Morris. And unfortunately, we didn't see Peter Hunter return to continue his good point-scoring run from Paul Ricard. But Jack Mace, Ferrari do a brilliant job, as ever, here at Snetterton to bring us some amazing racing in some of the finest machinery on the face of the planet.
And I'm very much looking forward to Silverstone. I know that whilst it is another former airfield circuit with fast sections and technical sections, Dave was right to say it will be a different affair entirely. Great to see the camaraderie among the paddock as well, the drivers all in very good spirits, as you'd probably expect for those that just got the opportunity to spray some champagne after a fine race around here at Snetterton Circuit in those Ferrari 296 Challenge cars. Very, very well deserved, and I'm sure they might be popping towards their garages to pop a bottle of Peroni Zero before they head back to their respective bases. But no, overall, really good weekend of racing that we've been treated to here, and it puts us in good stead for the final 2/3 of the season, as I believe it will be.
Yeah, final 2/3. We've still got Silverstone, Donington Park, Alton Park, Brands Hatch as well on the horizon. Plenty of racing still to be done, championships to be decided. However, Gilbert Yates very much making sure that he closes that gap to son Bradley Yates in the lead of the championship. But Bradley isn't making it easy. Speaking of podium sitters, we should now have our podium ready for Copa Shell.
Well, to be fair, Race Control, which is directly above where I am, are looking at things right at the moment, and still no decision has been made, which just proves the point how everything is taken very, very seriously, and every centimetre is looked at before adjudication and decisions are made. So I just wanted to reassure you. What I wanted to do here is, of course, every team, and we see the teams represented. Tom, stand aside. We see the teams always represented on the podium, a Copa Teams trophy. Charles Hurst, you've been the recipient of quite some trophies recently. What sort of training do you do in that showroom of yours to nurture these drivers?
We use plenty of polish to keep them all cleaned, and just tell these guys to keep going. Never have too many. Never have too many trophies.
That's fantastic, isn't it? You know, and actually, from a pride point of view, for you as a dealer to, you know, you celebrate, you share in it as well.
So lucky. We're so lucky with the guys we've got, and Will's coming on so well for Copa Shell too. We're very, very, very fortunate. We really are.
Well done to you, and thanks for talking to me, which I know you really didn't want to do. And I'm going to get told off about that, I feel sure. So still waiting for some news to come out of Race Control, and as soon as we have that, and I'm just going to wax lyrical here and wander around. And Tony is Joseph Dean's father. Tony Dean, I know you've got quite a hefty right foot as well. There was a rumour once going around that we might see you in a racing car, and a Ferrari Challenge racing car.
At Silverstone.
Oh, what about that? You are going to be in a car?
I am going to be in a car, yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So not only are we going to have the Yates battle, we're going to have the Dean battle.
No, because I'm much slower than Gilbert.
Nah, you do yourself a disservice. Oh, fantastic stuff. So that rumour was absolutely true.
It was. Indeed it is. And I'm looking forward to it very much.
I was going to say, there must be a sense of excitement, anticipation, and...
Oh, my God, I really am so excited. It's a dream.
But also a dream is the fact that Joe is just doing so well now, so consistent, lap after lap. He's just clean, tidy and quick.
He is. He's very consistent. Obviously, he's spent a lot of time training and practicing in the winter, and he's a lot calmer in the car, and that's translated into speed on the circuit.
That's the trouble with youth like me and him, you see. You've got to contain that.
You do have to contain that, and I'm so glad that you're leading the way on this one.
Thank you for talking to me. I really appreciate that very much. As we continue to, I thrust my eyes towards race control, and still no news is coming my way yet. So I continue chatting to everyone I can down here just to keep everyone entertained if I can. Now, one of the new breed in the Ferrari Challenge, Mr. Turner. Come and join me here, please, if you will. Do you know what? You are such a wonderful character to have on the grid because you're always smiling, you're always taking the mick out of me, and you're having fun, aren't you?
Fantastic. Great camaraderie, great set of guys, and just super competitive. Just lots to learn.
Yeah, and I accept that, but you know what? If you can have fun and enjoy it, and you really are doing that, you are the embodiment of what the Ferrari Challenge is all about. Super close, clean racing, but full of smiles too.
Ah, look, Dave, it's brilliant. Like I said, it's a lot more competitive than I expected when I come in, but lots to learn. That's third season in racing, so just head down, foot to the floor, and just scare yourself to death.
You're doing a great job. Can I just say, this guy wound me up a treat at lunchtime today. And if you didn't hear earlier on, basically I thought I'd got a wasp hanging around my ear here. It was him with a breadstick, winding me up a treat. So, yeah, I feel that I will be getting him back in due course at some stage. So, as I continue then wandering to find other people and victims to chat to, who have I not spoken to yet?
There was Mike Dewhurst we spotted down there as well. He's chatting with Joe Dean at the moment.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll go and grab a word, and thanks, Jack. This is Joseph Dean and also Mike Dewhurst here, and Mike, who's scrunched up a water bottle in frustration, perhaps?
No, I'm not too frustrated now. That was a good race. I mean, the pace was almost there. I made a few too many mistakes. So, a good building block for Silverstone, I think.
Of the two tracks, Snetterton, Silverstone, would you always argue that Silverstone is more to your style of driving, Mike?
It's difficult to say. I mean, Silverstone's very fast and flowing, isn't it? So, I mean, that's a nice track. So, yeah, I've always gone well there.
And what we should also make mention of the fact is, of course, you are racing in Trofeo Pirelli by dint of your success in Copa-Shell. That's what happens. You win the Copa-Shell Championship, you get elevated. So it was always going to be kind of more difficult for you this year.
Yeah, it's a big step up. And just on consistency and pace, the guys are quick and they don't make mistakes. Whereas last year, anybody who was quick, you could count on them making a couple of mistakes to allow you to catch them back up again. So it's much more competitive. So, yeah, but I'm making some progress, so I'm happy.
You are indeed, and Mike, thanks for talking to us. We really appreciate that. Right, at last we can get on with the Copa-Shell podium here. Ilaria, my trusted number 2, more number 1 than number 2, to be honest. As the Copa-Shell podium then for race 2 of round 2, taking P3, big it up for Sean Rand. And taking P2 in Copa-Shell, it's William Bolster. But on the top step of the podium, this is habit-forming Chris Bayton. Once again, we invite our Ferrari North Europe regional manager to make the trophy presentations after we've introduced our Copa dealer, Grey Paul Nottingham. You could look a bit more enthusiastic about it, for crying out loud. Right, Federico Pastorelli then makes the trophy presentations. Well done, Sean Ran, P3. Well done to William Bolster. Those menacing eyes, P2. And number 1, Chris Bayton. And Great Paul Nottingham in receipt of the Copa Dealer trophy. So taking your cue from Lee, who's top photographer here. You give me the tenner later. Big smiles all round. And we lose Great Paul Nottingham. Now the top 3 drivers with their trophies. I engage reverse because we're not far away from seeing who is going to win the champagne race. I'm pretty sure it was William Bolster. Our top 3. Well done to all our drivers. And from down here in the podium, it's back to you, Jack.
Thank you very much, Dave Richardson. But from myself, Jack Werrell, and of course Jack Mace, it has been a fabulous weekend here at Snetterton for round 2 of Ferrari Challenge UK in partnership with Pirelli, Shell, Puma and many more. But from us all here at Snetterton, congratulations to our winners, and we'll see you all at Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time.